Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of So You Want to Podcast, Strategies for Growing Your Business, Community, and Influence. Today I wanted to just throw in a handful more of ways you can use podcasts to benefit your business in other ways. Over the last few weeks, we've gone through the big ones in terms of authenticity, know, like, and trust factor, expertise, authority, the great demographic information that's out there on podcast listeners, the evergreen content asset that it is, ways that it can reduce your expenses in marketing and networking. And here's just a few more awesome things that podcasting can do for you. First of all, podcasts improve and or showcase your public speaking. So if you fancy yourself a speaker or you're pursuing a speaking career, you're a thought leader, you're someone that has to get up in front of large audiences to speak, or small audiences to speak occasionally, podcasts are a great choice for you because not only is it practice, but people have the ability to then check out your podcast and hear you speak and see if you can deliver a point or a thought or a keynote effectively. Number 2, if you don't like the idea of doing video, if you don't want to be on camera or you don't want to do live video like Facebook Live or YouTube Live, podcasts are a great alternative to video and you can do them in your pajamas. Not only that, but your audience can consume them in more ways than video or a blog. Remember, they can listen to them in the car while they're running, in the shower, while they're working out at the gym, etc. Reason number 3, maybe you don't need a podcast to generate client leads like we've been talking about over the past few weeks. Internal communication podcasts for your employees are being used by major corporations already. HR professionals are also using podcasts for orientation and recruitment, sharing company culture and values prior to hiring and lowering turnover rates. Think about it this way. If someone applies for a job because they heard about it on your podcast, they already know about the company. They know about the culture. They know about the values. They know about the benefits. You don't have to worry as much about them leaving after 2 years and wasting all that money you spent on recruiting and training them because they already know what the company is about and they know that they want to work there. So these internal communication podcasts and HR podcasts are both highly effective ways to communicate information in detail and also build relationships between leaders and employees. Think C-suite people that never see the normal employee. This is a great way to build that relationship. And bonus, you don't have to have as many boring meetings at 8 a.m. Your employees, both current and future, can listen in the car on the way to work. And the last cool way that you can use a podcast has to do with books. Are you thinking about writing a book? Do you know that you have a book in you, but you're not a great writer? You don't think you're a great writer, or writing just takes you too long? Well, think about it this way. In a 200-page book, you'll average about 55,000 words. Most people speak 125 words per minute. That's about 2,500 words in a 20-minute podcast. So do 22 episodes of that podcast, and you've basically written a book out loud. Congratulations. Now, a ghostwriter could very easily turn those transcripts from your podcast into a book if you provide them with an outline. Many podcasters have already done this. One example that comes to mind is Dr. Ryan Gray. Ryan Gray has several podcasts that focus on med students. One is called The Pre-Med Years. There's also the MCAT podcast and things like that. He has turned at least one, if not 2 of those podcasts into books already. And he did not write them. He hired a ghostwriter to take his outline and those transcripts and turn them into a book. So those are just a few more ways that you can use your podcast to accomplish things in your business or grow your community. So next week, I'm going to start a series that will drill down on several of the key strategies that I've mentioned in these first few episodes. The first one will be authenticity and how to use it, how to build it through your podcast. Number 2, we'll talk about monetizing the podcast. And number 3, we'll start to talk about how to build a community with your podcast. So I hope these first few episodes have been helpful for you. If you haven't had a chance yet to download my podcast launch formula, make sure you go to dannyosmond.com/podcast-launch-formula to get that. It's my formula for launching all of my clients' podcasts, and I actually used it to launch this podcast as well. And I have to say that it's worked really well so far, and I'm really appreciative of everyone that's written a review so far. Let me share one with you here from Dr. Michael Hudson. Valuable insights, comfortable delivery, and practical wisdom. Love this new podcast from Danny Osmond. It's focused, on point, and presented in a way that makes it approachable and applicable. Well done, Danny. Thanks, Dr. Hudson, for writing that. I really appreciate it. And if you like the podcast so far, please, please, please head over to Apple Podcasts or any app that you listen to podcasts on and leave a rating and review. It's really helpful in getting the word out about the podcast so that people can discover it. So that's it for me this week. I look forward to talking to you next week in episode 8. I started this show to help you create a successful podcast that builds your community, grows your business, and increases your influence. And when I work one-on-one with businesses to help them create, craft, launch, and grow their own podcasts, I find that the most crucial step is the launch. And too often, most podcasts just get thrown out into the world without a strategic launch plan. So that's why I'm giving you my podcast launch formula that I use with all of my Done For You podcast clients. To download this PDF, go to dannyosmond.com/podcast-launch-formula. That's dannyosmond.com/podcast-launch-formula. Once you download it, you'll also see a video with me explaining it step by step. So thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next episode.